The movie begins with Mykola, a pacifist hippie Ukrainian math teacher, who peacefully lives with his loving wife Nastia in a small village in Ukraine. They are a very environmentally friendly couple, which is why their home lacks modern amenities such as a TV or radio. Every day, Mykola rides his bicycle to teach at a nearby school, while his wife stays at home carving beautiful wooden angels. One day, upon reaching school, Mykola learns from the news on the TV that the Russian special forces have seized control of the entire Crimea region, leading to a widespread protest all over Kyiv, and the president of Ukraine has fled to Russia. Despite this unsettling news, Mykola proceeds with his usual routine of teaching his class and starts teaching his students about the concepts of speed, distance, and time. However, during class, a troublemaker student named Ivan disrupts the lesson by shooting wet paper balls at the blackboard. Instead of scolding him, Mykola calmly walks to him and instructs him to do that again. Proudly, Ivan shows his joker skill again and Mykola calculates the time it takes for the paper ball to hit the blackboard, using it as a practical example to teach the concept of speed and time to the entire class. Following this, Mykola calls Ivan to solve a problem on the blackboard. However, Ivan responds by drawing an inappropriate image to provoke Mykola. Rather than getting angry, Mykola humorously acknowledges it as the reason for Ivan's distraction, causing the entire class to burst into laughter. After the school dismissal, Ivan warns Mykola not to mess with him before leaving. The next day, as Mykola heads to school, he notices some army men on his way but doesn't pay them much attention to it. However, upon reaching the school, he finds it completely deserted. He is puzzled as to where everyone has gone, but then he sees the news on TV, revealing that the Russian army has invaded the Donbas region of Ukraine. It dawns on him that the soldiers he saw on the road were indeed Russian. Mykola immediately rushes back home on his bicycle because his wife is alone there, but by the time he arrives, it's already too late. The Russians have already reached his home and are beating his wife. When Mykola tries to save her, they start beating him as well. Mykola pleads with them to leave his wife, as she is pregnant, but one of the soldiers enters their house and sets it on fire before they start leaving. Nastia, enraged at the sight of her burning house, picks up a stone to throw at the Russian soldiers only to get shot down before Mykola's eyes. His life is suddenly changed, holding his dead wife in his arms, overwhelmed with grief for the loss of the woman he loved more than anything. The following day, 2 Ukrainian soldiers arrive to find Mykola cradling his deceased wife. After confirming that he is Ukrainian, they assist him in burying her. After that, Mykola walks to his burnt house and finds a wooden angel carved by his wife. He cannot stop his tears and holds the angel close to him, cherishing it as a memento of their love. Afterward, the Ukrainian soldiers take him to their base, where he requests the commanding officer to join the army, fueled by a burning desire for revenge. Seeing determination in his eyes, the officer agrees to enlist him, and from the next day on, his training begins. Initially, Mykola struggles even with the most basic tasks like assembling and disassembling an AK-47, but through hard work and persistence, he continues to improve his skills. One day, the commander informs them that they have a shortage of snipers and asks volunteers to stand up to whoever wants to become a sniper. Only a few volunteers step forward, including Mykola, prompting everyone to laugh at him. Undeterred, Mykola asserts his desire to become a sniper and requests to be recognized by the codename Raven. The commander tells him that code names are not given, they are earned, and questions Mykola's suitability given his earlier struggles, even with basic tasks. However, Mykola confidently claims he can assemble and disassemble an AK-47 within 20 seconds. The commander tells him to demonstrate it, and to add cherry on the top, Mykola even blindfolds himself. Initially, everyone thinks that he cannot do it, but to their surprise, Mykola completes the challenge in just 18 seconds, eliciting applause from all around. Following this, his sniper training begins in earnest, and he dedicates himself wholeheartedly to learning the skills. However, after the theory days, while everyone else is being given SVD sniper rifles, Mykola is given an SKS rifle instead. Disheartened by the evident discrimination, Mykola requests an SVD from his senior, only to be shouted at and told he must prove himself worthy first. Feeling disillusioned, Mykola walks away but continues his training with the SKS. During daytime training sessions, snipers take their positions while the trainer fires shots from behind. Any sniper who flinches at the gunshot is immediately dismissed from the training, as snipers must remain still to avoid detection. However, when the trainer fires next to Mykola, he remains completely sturdy. Impressed, the trainer blindfolds Mykola and instructs him to take a shot, but Mykola misses his mark by a wide margin. He blames his rifle for it, but the trainer tells him it has been done before with the same rifle. Despite this setback, Mykola excels in the theoretical aspects of the training, outperforming even his senior, leveraging on his background as a mathematics teacher. Later that night, all the snipers undergo a night shooting test, where they must shoot their respective targets illuminated by the trainer's flare. Everyone except Mykola takes their shots when the flare goes off, but Mykola waits until the darkness sets in before taking his shot, relying solely on his estimation of the target's distance calculated during the flare's light. To everyone's surprise, his shot hits the target with pinpoint accuracy, earning him 3 bonus points from the impressed trainer. After several weeks of hardcore training, the results are finally in, and Mykola is placed in the category of first-class sniper along with the assigned code name Raven, much to his delight. Subsequently, Raven is summoned for his first mission, tasked with liberating a checkpoint controlled by the Russian army alongside his comrades. Upon reaching the location, they take their positions and fix their targets. However, before they can shoot, they spot a civilian car approaching. The colonel orders them to hold fire, but when the Russians begin beating the civilian couple, the snipers take action and eliminate their targets. However, the last soldier takes the girl hostage behind a car, but his head is clearly visible through the car window, and the colonel takes a shot, eliminating him as well. The colonel congratulates Raven for his first successful mission, and the other soldiers proceed to remove the Russian flag from the checkpoint, replacing it with the Ukrainian flag before returning to base. At the base, Raven learns that his friends are gone on another mission. Unfortunately, the next day, only their lifeless bodies return to the base. They have all been killed by a single man named Sherry, Russia's deadliest sniper, who even uploads videos of his kills to demoralize the enemy. Enraged by this revelation, Raven vows to seek revenge. A few days later, Raven and his comrades embark on their next mission in the woods, where they anticipate the passage of Russian army personnel. They set up traps along the route and lay down in their ghillie suits, awaiting their targets. Before long, they spot Russian soldiers through their scopes, and Raven is stunned to see his former student Ivan among them. Acting on the colonel's orders, Raven reluctantly triggers the explosive by shooting a tree, effectively eliminating all the Russian soldiers. Upon returning to base, the colonel takes a moment to smoke a cigarette while gazing at a picture of his family. Suddenly, Raven enters the room and asks him about the photo. The colonel reveals that it's his family, and his daughters are under the impression he's on a business trip, as he and his wife chose not to disclose his true profession to them so they can sleep better at night. The colonel also notices a wooden angel in Raven's possession and asks if it's his amulet. Raven responds by saying, "This is my family." The next day, they undertake their next mission near a Russian military installation, lying on the ground at a distance while observing. Suddenly, Raven spots the 2 soldiers who mercilessly killed his wife. Raven loses his calm and asks the colonel if he can take the shot. The colonel declines, insisting they continue observing. However, Raven, uncertain if he'll get another chance to avenge his wife's killers, asks again if he can take a shot. The colonel declines once more, but Raven's emotions get the better of him, and he takes out one soldier, while the other quickly takes cover. The Russian army becomes fully alert, and the colonel becomes furious at Raven for jeopardizing the mission. Meanwhile, on the other side, Russia's deadliest sniper, Sherry, spots the colonel and takes him out. The other Russian soldiers also start bombing the fields. Raven somehow manages to crawl out of their range and returns to base feeling deeply remorseful for his folly, realizing his actions led to the colonel's death. Swearing vengeance against Sherry, Raven sets off on his next mission alone. There, he discovers the location of 2 Russian snipers and spots one near a dumpster before eliminating him with a headshot. However, the second sniper, positioned in a building, spots Raven and fires at him. Luckily, the noob sniper's bullet only hits Raven's hand, and Raven takes him out with a headshot as well. Following that, Raven spends several days at his secret hideout, waiting for his wound to heal before he can embark on his next mission. One day, he receives a call from the brigade commander, who informs him that they have located Sherry's whereabouts and instructs him to return to base. Upon arriving at the base, the commander briefs everyone about Sherry. He explains that Sherry's bullets have an extensive range, and he has already taken out 5 of Ukraine's best snipers and 3 machine gunners. Sherry uploads videos of his kills online to demoralize Ukrainian soldiers, but this has inadvertently revealed his location, a chemical plant. One soldier suggests that they should blast the entire plant, but Raven, being a senior, explains to him the potential environmental catastrophe it would cause. The commander then explains their plan. There are a total of 8 militants in the factory, 5 on the ground floors providing security, and 3 snipers strategically positioned on higher floors. Ukrainian snipers will distract the Russian snipers from a distance while eliminating the militants on the ground floor, allowing Raven to discreetly enter the building and take out the Russian snipers. Following their plan, the team executes their actions and takes up their positions. Raven crawls to the building and silently eliminates a soldier with his suppressed gun, while the other soldier immediately surrenders, realizing his fate. However, this soldier happens to be the one who killed Raven's wife, and Raven exacts his revenge by killing him, finally avenging his wife's death. Following that, the colonel orders all snipers to take out the remaining militants, and they eliminate all the militants under the cover of a machine gun rained by their teammate to distract the enemy snipers. With the path clear, Raven infiltrates the building. However, Sherry becomes suspicious when he receives no response on the walkie-talkie from his teammates. He goes to the rooftop to investigate, only to discover one of his snipers dead. Realizing the threat, he immediately calls for backup. As he returns to his position, he finds Raven's amulet, and suddenly Raven leaps down from above and eliminates Sherry with a knife. However, another Russian sniper nearby senses something amiss, but before he can react, Raven drops a grenade, eliminating him as well. With Sherry and the other sniper gone, the base is now clear. As the backup team of the Russian military arrives in a truck, unaware that Sherry has already been killed, Raven prepares himself. He shoots the driver, causing the truck to come to a halt, and all the soldiers exit the vehicle. Unbeknownst to them, Ukrainian snipers have been waiting for this moment for their whole life, raining down gunfire on the unsuspecting Russian soldiers, eliminating them all. With the mission accomplished, Raven walks on foot to his wife's grave, holding the amulet in his hand, and lets her know that he has taken her revenge. In the next scene, we see Raven on his next mission, this time in a snowy mountainous terrain, with his amulet serving as a constant source of motivation. This movie is based on a true story, and it's written by none other than the protagonist himself. See you all in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.